Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with another Manchester United podcast. As always, if you're joining us, coach has already started. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 650 prior to our game next week. As always, make sure you show love to our guests. Their link will be down in the description. We are joined again by Rob. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing?
Absolutely fantastic. Pleasure to have you on. And as always, we have got the regulars. We've got Beeks, Benji, Kojo, and Adam is still alive, believe it or not. I'm sure some of you have been asking regarding the watching logs. How are we all doing, boys?
Fantastic, man.
Yes, let's get it.
Yes, not too bad. Glad to be on.
Oh, it's a slight lag on Adam's voice. But
yeah, Adam, welcome back, bro.
Yeah, Adam, it's good to see you back, man. It's been a while. But yeah, just to give you a bit of a backstory on the show itself, we're going to be discussing all things going into the new season in terms of formation, preferred lineups, that kind of thing. Obviously, from a tactical standpoint, Benji always goes on about tactics, so I'm assuming he's a professional because he always criticizes Ollie. So if you're lucky, Benji's going to give you some proper tactical insight here. We'll see, regarding that.
I've got you.
As always, make sure you put your comments down, and obviously we'll read them out. If you've got any questions, also let us know. No, I'm just going to start with the major thing. We did a video yesterday regarding Sancho. I'm just going to get it out of the way because I know that's going to be the question everyone's asking. No, we'll come to you first, actually, Rob. Regarding the Sancho situation, we had Tom McDermott on yesterday, and he said, as a journalist, from his sort of past experiences, if the news is true regarding the sort of agent fees being agreed, etc., it's a foregone conclusion that the deal will go ahead. What's your thoughts on the situation in terms of the deal itself? Do you think it's true regarding the agent fees, and do you think that kind of results in us finally getting Sancho over the line?
Not quite foregone conclusion, but I think it's definitely moving to a conclusion. I think this is what I've consistently said about it. Yeah. There's been no real hold up between the football clubs. It's just been mainly to do with third parties. So that has been now resolved over the last week, which is what we expected. And I think, with 4 weeks left of the window, we will probably hear something more concrete in the next week or two.
Yeah, just regarding Sancho, Beeks, obviously, as Rob has just alluded to, hopefully the next couple of weeks, we'll get some concrete information. What are your thoughts regarding this whole situation? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm fed up of it. Like, obviously, I want Sancho to come to the club, but it's gotten to the point now that they've completely sucked the joy out of this transfer. Don't get me wrong, I'll still be happy if it is official, when it's official. I'm not going to lie, of course I will. But at the same time, it just seems like this could have been done easily a month ago, surely.
No, I think the contract negotiations do take a long time. You've got to remember with a club at Manchester United that there's all sorts of things that are negotiated on top of deals, whether that be image rights or, again, third parties being involved. I always say when I talk about transfers over the years that football fans do need to be patient with these things, especially when it's Manchester United. Yeah. And as I said, I think last time when I spoke to you, there are clubs like Chelsea, like City, who have got big oil baron owners who you can really click their fingers and access funds that even Manchester United can't. So I haven't heard of a Man United deal since the start of time that didn't take ages to conduct. When have United ever gone in and bought someone in a week? It doesn't really happen. Even Donny van de Beek, people were saying that was a quick deal. Well, that's been 6 months of talking and negotiations and scouting and all sorts. So these deals don't just activate really quickly. I think with Sancho, because we have the social media bubble, going non-stop, everyone feels involved in these transfers. But quite often, it's not that there's nothing going on. It's just that you just don't know what's going on. So I think the Sancho deal has taken an acceptable amount of time. There's still 4 weeks of the window left. It's not going to happen tomorrow. And fans within a week or two will be getting a bit shaky and a bit jittery around it, thinking, is this going to happen or not? That's all part of the theatre, isn't it, of the game? But I think it'll be fine. As long as we get him in red and he's playing for Manchester United next season, whether that be on October the 5th or the day before, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. As long as we get it done, that's the most important thing. We saw with the Bruno signing, eventually it got done in January, but it didn't make that much of a difference in terms of when in January it got done, because obviously we still got top four. Beeks, from a fan's perspective, and obviously it's just a general Man United fan, what are your thoughts regarding the Sancho deal itself? Are you confident it'll happen, or are you still like umming and ahhing? Are you still kind of sat on the fence regarding the whole deal itself?
Do you know what? I'm not even sitting on the fence with this one anymore. Do you know what? Because obviously over time, there's a reputation with obviously the British media, and when they've got something and they've hit something nail on the concrete in terms of transfers and whatnot, I just believe that once that's out in the open, then just like Rob said, sometimes there's a position, there's a chance where it might not always go through, but obviously in terms of third party and whatnot, he just stated, I just feel like the deal might just actually happen now, man, and it's just about waiting, whether it happens on the 5th or I just believe that Jadon Sancho will end up at Manchester United, and it's just about waiting and being patient, man. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It's an L for Manchester United. However, people need to realize that the fee is, you don't just get the fee out of nowhere, bruv. No one just has 120 million euros come out of thin air, bruv. You understand what I'm saying? It's about making sure you structure that deal properly, and I believe that it's actually happening. So it's just about waiting. I'm just relaxed. I'm relaxed about the situation. I'm not stressing. I actually believe it actually will happen.
Fair enough. But to be fair, I've got a heart on because I've lost all my hair worrying about this deal. So that's the reason, lads. You'll be wondering why I've always got my heart. Adam, we'll come to you. For those of you that aren't aware, Adam's been very consistent on saying he doesn't want Sancho. So he from the start you said that. So of course, regarding the deal itself, what are your thoughts regarding the deal? And like I already mentioned, you've been very consistent from the start. You don't want Sancho. You'd rather get somebody else and obviously reinvest that money elsewhere. What's your thoughts now surrounding the deal? Are you still in that boat, or has your mind been swayed, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, if he comes and he's a United player, I'll give him a chance. I'll give him all the love that he probably does deserve off me. If he comes to United. But I have always said I don't want him. I don't think. Just being a bit pessimistic, I suppose, but I don't think he will come into the team and do well. Like Usmaan thinks, straight away off the bat he'll score 25 goals in his first season. So here's what basically. But to be honest, it's not a United transfer if it doesn't absolutely make me go bald or make me go grey. It happens again and again with every single transfer. So I've expected this to go down to basically deadline day. And unfortunately, I kind of don't see us getting anybody else either, which is really bad because I think we need a defender. But anyway, on Sancho, our problem's always been I don't know who else to get. And basically now, with a couple of weeks left, there isn't going to be anybody else. We need to put all our eggs into this basket and just get him done, because we can't just have Mason Greenwood on the right wing. We need another player, and it's got to be Sancho.
Yeah, no, obviously the last so to speak, the sentence in terms of we can't have Mason Greenwood on the right wing for the duration of the season. I think that's the most telling line for me. I don't know what you guys think, but in terms of going into the season, the only reason I worry is because if we do have a similar situation to Bruno, because I was one of those fans last summer that I was absolutely adamant that we're going to get Bruno in summer. I said on numerous occasions, it's happening, to friends, they still remind me to the day, but thankfully it did eventually happen. But I just feel like if, for whatever reason, if the Sancho deal doesn't happen, Benji, is there anyone that you would like? I know you're going to say it already, but I'm going to ask you, but have you got an alternative to Sancho? I know it's going to be, he's going to say Bailey, aren't you? Because you literally love that guy to bits. But is there anyone else, Benji, if this doesn't, for whatever reason, this deal doesn't materialize, is there anyone else that you'd say?
No. But the reason why, because the transfer's so far down the line. We're all over Twitter gassing it up, showing videos. Welcome to Manchester, Jadon Sancho, showing his best clips or whatever. We need this marquee signing, because what it does, number one, it gives confidence to the team, because we need a big player to walk through that door. Every summer, you really do need a big player to walk through that door to give us confidence. Number two, it gives us confidence to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because his team goes up a level as well. and number 3, it gives confidence to the fans. One of the most important things that has to happen at Old Trafford is the fans, and the atmosphere has to come back. That how it was under Fergie, where everyone's electric, everyone's excited, and I feel like Jadon Sancho will actually do that.
Yeah.
Also, another thing what it actually does, it improves our revenue and people buying T-shirts and all the other stuff. So it's more than just a footballing deal. Jadon Sancho is a player that we need. Jadon Sancho is a player I want. I'm also thinking about on FIFA because if you have Rashford, Martial, and Sancho on the right, you know, in the 80th minute when someone gets tired, we got Dan James or Greenwood or whatever. But you know, all jokes aside, we need Sancho, man. If we don't get Sancho, do you know how embarrassing that will actually be? We can't go get Gareth Bale, Douglas Costa. As much as I love Leo Bailey, he's not Sancho. We need Sancho, and no one else can whatever. Because if we don't get Sancho, Eduardo's going to be under pressure. Ollie's going to be under a lot of pressure. It's going to be toxic from the get-go. And we don't want that to happen. We want to go into a positive season. I want to go into the season with optimism. I don't want to be negative this season. I want to really go in and actually try and challenge and win something this season. So we need Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, that's such a massive point, that is. Such a massive point.
I was just going to come off the back of what you said in terms of it could potentially be the difference between us having a good season and potentially challenging. Kojo, where do you stand on that? Do you think Sanchez could potentially be that influential? And do you think it's that big of a signing, as Benji's alluded to there?
Yeah, it's a huge signing. I mean, you talk about making a statement for the rest of the league to pay attention. You know, Chelsea have gone aside Havertz. City haven't really signed anyone, neither of Liverpool, because they're top 2. But we're 3rd and 4th. Chelsea have signed a lot of top players, and we've got Van der Beek, who's a great signing. But we need that one star, that one player that's the gem, the diamond in the rough. So it would be huge for us. Will he make a difference straight away? I think we need to take our time. We don't know what's gonna happen. Let's calm down. But
I've not said he has, but I don't know where Adam's made of that.
I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying, innit? I'm just saying, let's take time. It's not you per se, personally, though, because you know on Twitter, you know how it is with fans, isn't it? But
of course,
but no, he is a huge footballer. A right winger is exactly what we need. I don't want to see Greenwood out there being sort of like a makeshift right winger. He's a striker first and foremost. So, yeah, I think it's very important that we bring this boy in. Very.
But can I just add something quickly as well? I also feel like the reason why it's very important to bring Sancho because the fans also need players on the pitch that we can love and adore. I feel like at Manchester United for a very, very long time, we've had players that I'm not really going to buy a Daniel James shirt. I'm not really going to buy certain people's shirts. Like, if Sancho comes in, that's the first ever name I'll have on the back of my
I thought you had a shirt with Ollie's name on the back of it.
Hey.
No way. But you know what I mean? So it's like, these are the players like Bruno, Martial, Pogba, Rashford, Greenwood. These are players that Man United fans can actually love and adore. Like, imagine going to the argument like, oh, my team's better than your team. And then one team's like, okay, let's go to
Is that all you care about? It's just
they go to let's go right wing. You're arguing with Chelsea. They got a Ziyech and we got Daniel James on the wing. It's not really, you know.
He's not a starter, man.
I get what Benji saying. It doesn't hold weight. It doesn't hold weight.
But he's not a starter, bro.
He's
not a starter.
Dan James. You start mentioning Dan James, please. What is he doing?
We got Pogba, we got Bruno, we got Martial, Rashford. Man said Dan James. I like it, man. Who's next? Andres Pereira, Philip Jones.
Leave Dan James out of it. Leave him out of it. He's not done anything to you, bro.
But I hear what you're saying, though. We need a player that excites the fans. I can't remember the last forward that we had when they had the ball going forward, and you know the fans immediately stand up way like they used to have Ronaldo.
Martial, really, you know,
Igalo.
in a sense.
Who said Igalo? Adam, send your address, bro. We need to talk.
I'd say Martial, but let's talk about someone that we have actually signed. Obviously, Rob, will come to you first and foremost. Of course, Van der Beek was a fantastic sign. We spoke about it on the show last time we had you on. I just want to talk about Ollie changing the culture at the club. You know, a lot of people criticize Ollie for his, tactics or whatever it may be. But one thing you definitely can't criticize him is the manner in which he's trying to take the direction of the club. Is that something that you've seen in Ollie that we can see for a long term, or do you think it's just he's a stepping stone? Because some people saying Ollie is just a person to sort of stable the ship, so to speak, and then the next person will come in. What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
I think Ole has been given kind of carte blanche by the Glazers to rebuild the football club from the bottom up. So that's one of the reasons why they don't have a director of football. And obviously, we discussed that before as well.
Yeah.
Van der Beek, yeah, the kind of signings that United are trying to make, and Sancho is included in this, are kind of players who will come in and make a difference in the first team and essentially win more games for Manchester United. It's partially about, we talked about shirt sales there and about superstars and all of these things. Ultimately, none of that matters. Yeah, it's about winning every week and which players you bring in and who are going to make you win. It doesn't matter if you're Jordan Henderson, we might not like you, but he wins with Liverpool. That's why Klopp plays him. So we might not rate him, but that's a different question. So I look at Van der Beek and I really do think that he's a really good addition. I've followed him for a long time at Ajax and obviously my work doing in the Eredivisie. He's a kind of player that is he's a stone cold winner. He won't accept second place. He's a bit like Bruno in that context, that he's coming to Manchester United to win trophies. Yeah, he's on a good wage, but he's not coming for the wage. And I think we've seen over the last 6 years with United, the players that have all turned up have all come for the payday. So you need to kind of get that balance right in terms of a kind of star names coming or people coming on big wages, but ultimately you want these players to come in and win. And I think Van der Beek is a kind of statement signing as to where United see the football team going at the moment and the kind of style of football that they want to play. Because Van der Beek can do 2 or 3 or 4 different things in midfield, and it will give Ole some versatility in there that, say, Fred or McTominay simply don't give him at the moment. And as I said before as well, I think he'll be a starter. I do think that Ole is going to rejig his formation, and I do think that Van der Beek will be a starter every week.
Oh, to be honest, regarding Van der Beek being a starter, I'm just curious to know what formation, because obviously we are going to go into a bit more detail shortly. But I'm a bit surprised that you've said that, because I feel like Pogba is the person that's going to get sacrificed in a sense, isn't he? I know a lot of people are saying that. What do you reckon regarding that, Rob? Yeah,
Pogba won't be sacrificed. Ultimately, again, just repeatedly, where does Paul Pogba play? Not just for Manchester United, but for France and for Juventus before that. Paul Pogba has never played as number 10. Let's just forget that for a minute. He can go and do that role. We know he's skillful enough. He can put the ball in the top corner. Paul Pogba is not a number 10. So he's not going to be playing there next season. I know fans are desperate to see him up the pitch. Ultimately, you look at the midfield 3, you know that Bruno's going to be the guy that plays with Martial next year. That's where he'll probably end up in and around the box. And I think the player to join the dots between Pogba and Bruno will be Van der Beek, because that is kind of what he does at Ajax. He will arrive late into the box. He's got a really good shot from distance, and he's a hard worker. So he'll actually be in that press that we see Bruno doing every week in a kind of manic style, because no one else can kind of do it like him. And now you'll have 2 midfielders doing that, and you'll have a triangle really with Pogba being more of a quarterback, and he's not Michael Carrick in that sense of screening, but he will just be deeper. He'll also arrive late. There's no problem with Paul Pogba. Nothing in his game will be sacrificed. He won't be in training every day going, oh my God, I've lost my game here because United have signed Van der Beek. It'll be the opposite. He wants people moving in front of him. He wants that 20, 30, 40-yard ball on. He's now going to have Van der Beek, Bruno, and 3 fantastic forwards in front of him, and possibly Sancho. So there's no problem here. This is where we sit with Manchester United, and I think it's the correct way to build the football club. Whether people like Ole's tactics or not is a different thing. We said before, he's not Pep, he's not Klopp, and I think that's actually fine. That's okay. I want him to be himself, and he can only do that with good players. So as long as United can keep signing good players in a kind of moderate sense, I don't think he needs 5 at once like Chelsea have done. I think they will really struggle this year in terms of putting that together as a project and making that work immediately. Long term, it's a good signings, obviously, with the 2 German lads that they've bought. Yeah, but ultimately, I think United are going the right way. I think I like what I see, and I think the starting 11 next year is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, Benji, we'll come to you before we come to you, Beek, because I know Benji's might potentially have a contrasting view. So obviously Rob's quite, averagely said that we're going in the right direction in a sense, in terms of not only the culture, in terms of the recruitment, but in terms of what Ollie's trying to do on the pitch. He also thinks obviously Van der Beek is going to be regular. So what are your thoughts on Ollie in terms of what he's trying to achieve? And also, what are your thoughts on obviously having them three as a midfield? Do you think that's something that could work, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ollie's trying to achieve something. Whether he will achieve it is a different question altogether. Obviously,
Do you think he'll achieve it?
No, the transfer targets that he's going after are very positive, and obviously he's going to bring excitement back to the club, which he has done. But I feel like in the league we're in with Pep, like Rob said, with Pep and Klopp ahead of him, it's going to be very impossible for him to even get above them. Sorry, it's not like back in the day when he had just like Ferguson. He has two giants of the game that are probably the best manager of the last 10 years. Pep is definitely the best manager of the last 10 years ahead of him, but it's going to be very difficult for.
Is he?
What he is, I think.
All right, we'll leave that for another debate. I'm going to go into that.
Benji, just want to say, Ollie's popped Pep a couple of times, but anyway, just want to put it out there. Sorry.
3 times last week.
I think he's in 3-1, Charlie. I don't know. Someone tell him in the chat.
When it matters most, he didn't. But anyways, so obviously,
what, twice in the league? Are you telling me
in the league, home and away?
Twice in the league?
The League Cup semi-final when it matters.
League
I lied, man.
League Cup is more important than the league now. Okay.
But did we finish higher than them? We didn't finish higher.
Doesn't matter though. We beat them twice in the league.
Anyways,
We popped them.
As I was saying.
Okay, go on, sorry.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be difficult for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But one thing I can say to me is change in the club, the way the fans are looking at the club. The players he's bringing are quite good players, young, fresh, hungry players. Not to be rude, like the Schweinsteigers or the Falcaos, all these type of players that we brought in before. He is changing a lot of stuff. He's doing well in that regard. But the only thing I worry about him is his tactics compared to Klopp and Guardiola. It's going to be very difficult. I'm not getting onto him. You can roll your eyes as much as you want, but he's not a better.
Yeah, but you just said the reason I'm rolling my eyes, right? And again, I wanted you to have your say as well. But you've just said Pep is the best manager in the last 10 years, and then you've just gone on record and said he's nowhere near Pep. So that's literally, if you're telling me that's the best in the world the last 10 years, how can you expect him to be that close to the best in the world? He's only been.
That's what I'm saying. No, but that's what I'm saying. You have to think about it like this. There's 4 trophies available in the season. You have the League Cup, which is a hit and miss for anyone. You have the FA Cup, which is hit and miss for anyone. When you go to the Premier League, he's not winning the Premier League. No matter who you sign, who you bring in, he is not winning the Premier League. Champions League, he's going to get his pants pulled down, which he did last year against Barcelona. So that's 2 trophies that are available, which is my personal opinion. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
At the end of the season, we'll replay this and I'll be proved right. So there's 2 trophies: the League Cup, the League Cup, and the FA Cup. And I just feel like he just can't do it. But obviously, in terms of the midfield 3, I agree with Rob. I really want to see Mattis benched. I feel like all 3 of them can play together, and it's up to Ole to find a way to do it. Pogba can sit deep, and Bruno and Van der Beek can do the shuttling in the 8s. It's possible. It's always possible.
Can I just add something as well there about Ole? And this is when Ole got the job, I wasn't massively hot on it at all. You know, I was a Poch guy. It's kind of where I was looking at it in terms of rebuilding the squad and all of that. And that was how I was. You know, that's when Poch was obviously still at Spurs. It was about going to get him, but obviously his release clause was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think with Ole, you've got to just take it one step at a time. And the thing is with Ole is that he doesn't have this allure that Pep has, that Klopp has, when they're in front of a camera and they can talk into that camera and you fall in love with them because of how they talk about the game and you watch their teams attack and everyone's like, oh, fantastic. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has taken this Manchester United product when he came into the football club, which was ruined, destroyed by Mourinho, finished. Yeah, this is where it was. And the club had slipped so far in those 4 or 5 years. Forget about winning a few trophies like the FA Cup or going to win the Europa League. We're not interested in those trophies. We want the big ones.
Yeah.
We were nowhere near it. You're just saying, hey, do you think Ole could win the Premier League? And it's a no. Ultimately, you've only got to beat the teams that you play every week in the Premier League. You don't have to beat Liverpool every week. You don't have to beat City every week. You have to go and beat Burnley every week. And that's the difference, is that I think now United are in a position to win. And we've seen that with the unbeaten record before the end of the season, that they were getting in games where they weren't playing well and they were still getting points. And that was something we've not seen for a long time in Manchester United. So for me, I judge Ole on those. You know, I stylistically, you can go and watch those teams and say, yeah, they're great teams to watch, City and Liverpool. City lost more games last year in the Premier League than Manchester United. That's the bottom dollar. That's what happened. That's fact. 9 games they lost and United lost 8. So they're going in the right direction. I think with Ole is just about strengthening, because then the quality of player means that you can play different tactics. And
Absolutely.
you know, I don't want to play 4-3-3 and get murdered 6-0 every week. You know, I'd like to play 4-3-3 if you've got the players. But you know, I think it's the right direction. I think fans have to get away from the popularity contest, which is Manchester United, and actually look at just the facts and just say to yourself, well, you know, is he doing? Are we winning games? Are we attractive? Is it fun to watch? Do you want to turn the television on? 3 or 4 years ago, it was like, no chance. I don't want to watch this. I was out there working these games and going, I'd rather be anywhere else as a Manchester United fan.
Yeah, can I just say something as well? Obviously, I agree with you saying the opinion is very valid. But my problem is, obviously, next season, fair enough, a season, we're in November, we'll reassess and we'll see how we're doing in November. But I just think personally, his tactics against a lot of the smaller teams will just even abysmal.
Yeah, can I just add to that? Sorry, because this is something that's come out your mouth and a lot of the United fans.
If you're gonna say that,
one second.
If you're gonna say
no, I'm not gonna say that. That's gone now. You just said right. His tactics against the lower teams are poor. If I'm not mistaken, the same thing you were saying and other Ollie outs were, we only beaten Aston Villa, we've only beaten Brighton 3-0, we've only beaten Bournemouth, we won't be beating the poor teams and absolutely like Rob alluded to, we were poor against Brighton, we were poor against Aston Villa, we came out winning both them games 3-0 comfortably in the end, got a chance to substitute Bruno Pogba 60th minute, no problem. When we beat them teams, you guys were saying, Ollie outs were saying, he's beaten the lesser teams. It doesn't prove anything. He can't do it against a big team. But a couple of weeks before the post-lockdown, we beat Man City and Chelsea back to back. Oh, he can only play counter-attacking football. Post-lockdown, he beats all these shit poor teams. Oh, it's only poor teams. You can't do it against big. So the way I see it is, I'm not even like Ollie in or Ollie out. I just want people to be fair and balanced with the debate. But I feel like you can't do anything right. That's what I always feel about it.
With me, the only thing with me, I keep everything consistent. I don't waver and move unless you think otherwise. I just think personally, next season, you will see, of course, against the bigger team, we're going to play a different style of football now because we have better players. We're going to want to pass the ball around. It's going to be less counter-attacking, so we see how that works out. Yeah. But I'm even saying against the smaller teams, we'd be interested to see how we do. Because it's a different style.
But Benji, what
we've done well against the small teams. So people said the poor Beek. Sorry, go on.
But Ben, I get what you're saying, Benji. But against the smallest sides, at the end of this, and for me, I was on your wave, G. I was on your wave where
stay on that wave.
I was like, I was on your. To be fair, yeah. Just like you, just like Rob, I didn't have that confidence in Ollie. Do you understand what I'm saying? But after lockdown, after the whole Corona thing, and we came back, we were beating the lesser sides with conviction, bruv. So
beat Sheffield United 3-0 as well, easily.
This is what I'm saying, bruv. Before that, I was feeling some type of way. Before this whole coronavirus thing, I was looking at the games and I was thinking, yeah, it's long. I get what you're saying. I remember the days with Burnley when we were losing at home at Old Trafford. Those were low times, bruv. But you know where it is, right? I've come to this point where I'm tired of just seeing managers leave and not give them time, bro. Because at the end of the day, if we chop and change, bro, we're just back to square one, bro. And the thing is, I've got to be real with the situation, innit? Yeah, the guy has done what he has to do. He's now buying players that need to come to the club and do their job. Do you understand? Prior to that, yeah, we were getting players that just come in for the money. For example, Sanchez. For what Sanchez said the other day, yeah, that just solidified everything we had. Because when we're looking at players like Schweinsteiger, Falcao, all these men that were coming in the first place, yeah, these men were just coming in for the money. We had to understand, what did we have to offer? Nothing. At the end of the day, yeah, he's come in, he's done his thing. He said, "Do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to revamp it." Do you understand? And yes, there's times, yeah, where, all right, cool, we're not playing the best and we've lost them games. But after Corona, right, let's be real with the situation, bruv. The teams that we were playing, that I was looking at before, and I was thinking, bruv, we're going to lose. We ended up winning. And we won. Sometimes it wasn't with conviction. Sometimes it was with, cool, we won just about. But you know what? At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is 3 points, bro. And if we can accumulate them 3 points against them sides, week in and week out, If there's a chance that United can bridge that gap like that with the likes of Sancho coming in and whatnot, then by all means, I couldn't care less what anyone says. With the way we play, I will throw tactics out of the window. If I see 3 points on the board, my friend, it doesn't matter. That's all that matters.
And it's not like United are not fun to watch, is it? At the moment, like we are so fun to watch. Like those three guys up top, every game is exciting, and I think that's the difference. Is that people? I said the same as you about Mourinho. I said bring Mourinho in; he's a winner. And if the football's terrible, if we win 1-0 every week and we win the championship, I'll live with it. But the football was awful. We got nowhere near the championship, and that's the end. It was time to move on. So I think that's it with Ole. I think that's the key. Is what you just said there. Is that they're beating teams, but it's the football's good. It is fun still to watch. It might not be a chess match that some Man United fans profess that they want. I think it's important that we just stay on that winning tip. When United won 7-0, was it 7-0 or 7-1 at the start after the lockdown period? You know, in Europe, was it 6-1 or 6?
Yeah,
that big win we had 6-0, whatever it was. Ole out was trending on Twitter. Yeah, we won 6-0 and Ole out was trending on Twitter because they didn't like that Martial was on the bench or something. It's ridiculous, yeah? These things are crazy that fans take that stance on it. You just want to win, but play well as well and then be entertained. And I think we're on the right track.
I just think for me personally, I don't have a problem with Oli. I think he's a very nice guy. You know, he's a very good role model at the club. I just think for us to get to that certain level, I just don't see it. And obviously, as a football fan, every fan has to be proved wrong. And it's within my right to be proved wrong.
Of course.
With what you're saying, Beeks, I understand what you're saying. But I just think personally, like, we'll see what happens when the season starts.
I get you. Yeah.
Everyone can say, oh, Oli this, Oli that, whatever. First of all, the players have to perform. Also, he has to perform. Once he gets the signings, I don't want to hear any excuses.
Oh yeah, no, there's not going to be any excuses.
No, that's fine though, because that's fine because we always say
if you get Sancho, if you get Sancho and Van der Beek and this regular or maybe a centre back, if we do not do what this guy has been talking about, because the reason why I get annoyed with Oli, because every press conference is always like, we're Man United, we need to win this, we need to win that. If he doesn't deliver that winning stuff, that's the thing that gets on my nerves about him.
Benji,
he talks
when he had his players.
Benji, that's fine because what I think
Adam will come to you next. Go on, Kojo, sorry.
I think what Adam, I think I might be and Adam might be on the same path here.
Yeah, we probably are.
You're talking about because the thing is, you said to Usmaan earlier, you don't want to hear about the players, but bruv, listen, the last poor result we had, which was Burnley, wasn't it? When we lost 2-0 at home.
Yeah.
Phil Jones played, Matic played, Fred played, Pereira played, James played.
Fred and Pereira in the pivot. That's all.
Exactly. So, and obviously Martial alongside Mata. So, like, the thing is, what you're saying is right. I'm on the same wave as you. I always say I will judge a manager properly when he has his signings, because then there is no excuse whatsoever. If you have your players and you flop, that's on you, bro, because they're actually giving you the players. There's we spoke to what journalist was it? We had that said that he's in charge of him and the scouts took a look at players that identify. It was Rob. Yeah, no, it wasn't.
It was Rob.
No, but it was someone else. It was one. No, Rob said that, but it was something else that I was on as well. I can't remember.
Oh, right, I don't know who
Regardless, the facts are Rob said it.
Anyway, that's probably
No, I lie, man. Rob's here. Rob said it. Ole scouts, they look at players they identify, and then after they obviously say, "Oh, look, this is the player I want." My judge takes it from there, all that kind of stuff. He's in control of that as well. So, these are his players now. If he does get Sancho, if he does get a left back, he does get a centre back. There's no more excuses. These are your man. We move. I'm with you. But those players he had before, just as well as I do, under any other manager, they all completely suck.
Not good enough for the club. Simple.
It's very fair for you to say, because with Ole, I'm a bit iffy about his in-game management as well, but I also recognize his options are absolutely poor. And the time that we started getting results is when we had our boys back, when he was giving Bruno Fernandes. We started getting results.
The funny thing is, the way
Benji, let Adam speak and we'll come back to you.
Oh, I got it. Sorry.
Adam's not saying any of this. Adam, you've listened to everyone.
No, I've just been listening.
Anyway. Yeah, obviously we'll come back to you, Benji. So Adam, what are your thoughts on this? Obviously not Oli out stuff, of course not. But what are your thoughts on the style of play, the direction he's trying to take us in? Do you think it's a positive direction, or do you still kind of agree with. So I know from watching the Bournemouth game with you, we were both obviously really happy with that game in particular. But a couple of the games down the line, when doing the watch langs, you kind of get frustrated, as I was, with his in-game management. Do you still feel that's a massive concern, or do you think that's something he'll improve?
Yeah, to me that's still a concern. But Kojo said it there. You know, his depth in his squad was just abysmal. But he's signing a couple of players to counteract that. I just want to say with Benji, I feel like Benji's on Twitter while he's talking, typing Ollie out while he's saying what he's saying. Literally, I don't know. Someone hurt you, man.
He's tagging me.
Yeah, innit? Are you very like negative with what you're saying about Ollie, man? Starting a new season, be positive. Smile. Oh, you're smiling now, but you weren't smiling 10 minutes ago.
This is as positive as you're gonna get from you. Trust me.
All right.
I've said I'm happy.
What are you saying? Look, you know what? No. You know what, Coach? Benji. Sorry. The thing about it is, as long as we're playing well, we're getting the wins, and we're closing that gap. He was brought in when we were in absolute shambles, and look where we are. We've got third. Fair enough. We just got third, but
third.
it is, to be fair, it is third. It's the third best in the country. Last season, technically, we came third with the third best in the country. We probably weren't on performance and stuff, but that's where we ended up. As long as we're bridging that gap and we're challenging, if we get Sancho and we get the signings that he wants, we're challenging, then I think even if we don't win next season, the Premier League, I think he is still doing his job, and it goes on to the next season where we should definitely win. But as long as he's challenging and we're like even if we're just off, I think he's still doing a good job. To come from where we were to where we are now, to me being happy to watch a United game again, to being excited as a fan, to wanting to pop down to Old Trafford again, is incredible. Because I was hating. I was on my phone most of the time while I was watching United. I've never fallen asleep while watching United. I fell asleep once it was only once, but it was in the past couple of years. But you know what? I'm excited and I'm happy with the football that is to come, and I'm excited, and onwards and upwards, lads.
Yeah, no, I agree with it in terms of the sentiment that we've got to be positive come the start of the season. I don't think we're going to be close to the title next season, but again, a lot can change in football. It depends on the signings, etc. But just coming to the style of football, obviously I know Benji's going to have a lot to say, and I'm sure most of you guys will. I was going to ask you quickly regarding style of football, then we'll move on to key players, that kind of thing. Rob, what's the style of play that you're expecting from this team? Of course, you've kind of mentioned it with the midfield three in particular. Just for me personally, I think it's all about the fluidity in the front three for me. That's the best thing that Ollie's done for me in terms of giving them all license to interchange positions. I want to see us press more, though. I think that's one thing we've seen it in games that have been absolutely devastating because they're very quick in turning over the ball. That's what I want to see the most in terms of improvement. Where do you stand, Robert, in terms of style of play?
I think the second half of the last season, we saw that United were playing more of a possession-based game. Now, we knew before that, because of obviously, I said, the personnel at the football club, United were playing counter-attack, and that was really all they could do. That was the way they could hurt teams because they had pace, but there was no playing through midfield. There was no playing out from the back. That was why Harry Maguire was bought. Again, not particularly the most popular signing with United fans, but it was about having a player from the back who would play that directional ball 20 yards into feet. That's, I think, what we'll see United play more in the coming months going forward. As you just said there, the front three, I think, are all-encompassing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's philosophy about what he thinks the football club should be, the traditions of Manchester United. And really, the team that have done that more successfully than anyone else in Europe in the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, of course, have been Liverpool. So when you look at the United's front three, who could be absolutely as dangerous and as efficient as Liverpool's front three, and last season scored more goals than that front three that won the championship, I think United are on the right track. And I think it will come through midfield more. I think this is why Van der Beek was brought in terms of he's not a kind of illustrious passer of the ball, but he's used to playing in passing systems. This is what his heritage is in terms of from being a kid. And I do think that United have tried to play out from the goalkeeper a lot more last season. We know that it's not De Gea's strength, but there were times, as obviously you saw, it would slow down, wouldn't it? It would go from De Gea to one of the centre-backs to one of the full-backs, and it would all feel a little bit rushed and a little bit, like, what are they doing? But that's how modern football is played today. And I think that they'll carry on doing that, because it certainly didn't affect their win-loss record. And it certainly didn't really affect in terms of conceding goals, where, 20 goals better off last season. So the proof is in the pudding, in the statistics. They're going in the right direction. I think we'll only see an extension of that now going forward. If you've got Sancho in the team as well, and you're maybe using Greenwood in a more economical way, where maybe he's getting less time but more productive minutes, United could go out there and start blasting teams away every week, 2, 3, 4, 5-0. And I think that will be the kind of the way it will be, like the old days of saying, well, you can score against us, but we're going to score against you no matter what. Whereas with Mourinho, it was more like keep it 0-0 to 70 minutes, maybe have one shot on target, maybe win a game 1-0. That's not Manchester United. So I just think we'll see an extension of that, because Ole is really, really keen to kind of adhere to the traditions of the football club. And that's been his mandate. He's been told that by the board. That's what they want to see. They want to see United play a style of football what football fans identify with, and United fans are very picky. We know what we want. We know the style of football we want to see. If we don't see it, people will pipe up and talk about that. And so Ole is trying that. I think he's trying to do that. And that's certainly the last 3 managers that we've had, obviously after Fergie. They didn't get that. They had their own styles in their own heads and what they thought they could do. And I think Ole's gone, no, do you know what? I can do a little bit of everything. And I do think that it will come through those front 3, like you said. And I think Pogba's going to be a huge part of it. I think Pogba's going to be the guy at the back, the puppet master. He's going to be there with everyone in front of him, pulling the strings. And I think he'll love that role. And I think that will work for him. And I think it could be a surprisingly very good season for Manchester United. I don't want to get too excited, but I do think that the right players are in the right positions at the moment for us.
Rob, can I just say, I just want to ask you a quick question. What he's just said there about, playing from the back. We saw that last season with obviously Lindelof and Maguire, and then Matic in there losing the ball quite a bit and being very worried. And when they get pressed, we were all absolutely basically crapping ourselves because they're just going to lose the ball. We don't look like we're going to buy another defender, even though I think we do need one. So does that not slightly worry you going into next season, having the same?
Yeah, United are in for a defender. They want a new defender. That's something that has been on the cards for 6 months. United are scouting defenders. It's well known. Do I think they'll sign a defender before the transfer window closes? Probably not, as you said. But again, I think you've got to look at half of it from how you feel and half of it to the statistical side of it. United didn't hemorrhage goals last season. As much as we looked at De Gea and thought, do you know what, 7 unforced errors, that's terrible for him. All these problems with the defence. Statistically, the defence actually did really well last year. I'm not a fan of Lindelof. I would rather Lindelof go and United bring in another centre-back. But the stats say something different. And when you're a manager sat there looking at all of those statistics and trying to work out who you need to buy and who you need to play and who sits on the bench and who's in your team, I don't think that's the first thing Ole's going to be looking at and saying, do you know what, if I don't get centre-back, then I can't play football next week. I do think that United will sign a centre-back eventually. I just don't think at the moment it's a priority. They need to get Sancho over the line. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see Sancho come in and that's it for now, because it's such a huge financial outlay that the football club will have reservations even about spending 20-30 million on maybe another random defender that comes in to strengthen at fullback or something like that, because fans don't like Luke Shaw or something along those lines. It's about balance at the end of the day. So I think that playing out from the back is just what we'll see. Will there be mistakes? We saw it in Man City last year. They've got Laporte at the back. Everyone would love Laporte, wouldn't they? They made mistakes with the ball coming out from the back with supposedly one of the best sweeper keepers in the world. It does happen. And I think United need to build towards something that's more sustainable.
Yeah,
I just lost my earphones there. Sorry, lads.
I was about to say, I completely agree in terms of we're gonna be a more possession-based team, in particular midfield. I think, for me, without being biased, I genuinely think we've got the second best midfield in the league in terms of squads. You can only put Man City above us. I don't think there's any other team that comes next to us. I know, obviously, Chelsea fans will say their team, but you haven't seen how Havertz is going to adapt to the league, so to speak. Yeah. Just coming to you, Beeks, in terms of style of play. Obviously, Rob was quite strong in terms of how he thinks we're going to pan out, and obviously just to add Adam's question into there as well in terms of the press. That's something that I feel like we haven't got the ability to counter press in terms of we haven't got that. I don't want to use Thiago as an example, but he's probably one of the best in the world for counter press. Obviously, he's probably great at Liverpool, so I don't really want to use it. But we haven't really got a method in sort of dealing with the press. Every single team that's pressed us has caused us problems as well, and it does make me worry a bit, as Adam alluded to. Beeks, obviously, first and foremost, regarding our style of football and regarding the press, do you still think we should play out the back, or do you think that's the way forward, so to speak?
Do you know what it is? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still a bit worried about that because obviously playing out from the back, I still feel some type of way. Like my stomach ends up in my ass when I see us play out from the back, unfortunately. But there's nothing that we can really do about that. What I will say, honestly, I'm not even lying to you guys, bro, because sometimes I sit there and I think, Jesus Christ, I got Lindelof on the ball. And I'm just thinking,
just to add to that, I'm actually more confident with Lindelof on the ball. I know everyone's a huge fan of Maguire, but it's because Maguire's right foot and he's playing on the left side.
He's right. Do you know what it is?
He worries more. Because he just wants about 5 touches and he passes.
Tell them, Usmaan. Tell them.
No, I'm not saying I want Lindelof or Maguire. I'm just on about the passing.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm saying tell them. Go on.
Sorry,
all jokes aside, I just feel like playing from the back isn't for us, but like Rob said, it's modern day football, isn't it? Do you get what I'm saying? So there's nothing we can really do about it. My other problem is, like, I know a lot of people, like you guys have said, we'll have Pogba as like a quarterback, and then we've got Van der Beek as well, and Fernandes. I just feel like, all right, cool. When we're playing against the bigger sides, do you guys expect us to go with that midfield, or are we not gonna have a reinforcement? Because I'm sorry, because I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, all right, cool. Are we not going to put like a Matic in, or are we not going to put like a McTominay in place to actually make sure that we don't concede through that middle? I'm just going to put that question out there because I just want to know everyone's perspective.
Everyone's disagreeing with you with Beeks. I agree with you though. I don't think we can.
Nah, you know why? Because teams are going to be scared to play us. Teams are going to be scared with what we produce in the attack.
You know what it is? It's the thing where obviously these lot are all raving about Thiago. Usmaan, every show, Usmaan mentions the name Thiago.
I'm a massive fan. I'm not going to deny it.
So if you look at Bayern Munich, like many teams actually play with a traditional defensive midfielder. You don't need to have a defensive midfielder. It can be a deep line playmaker. What we will have to do to stop the ball from coming that side is how we press. If we can stop the ball coming back that way a lot, it can actually work. But at the same time, I get what you're saying. You want solidity, but I feel like
I get now. The fact I'm happy that you said that. Now the question that that's what I was happy that you said that. Do we have the players to now press like that?
We do.
Yeah, Van der Beek.
I think so. I think signing someone like Van der Beek is very essential because I always bitch and moan about the fact that the gap between Pogba and Bruno at some point in the season went from here to this real quick, and there was no one in there. And he's that key man in the middle that helps us press, that helps us control the game better. And in regards to what it does for the centre backs is, I think having someone else in that midfield, or 3 of them, that can actually control the ball and pass the ball better means that you won't expect Lindelof or Maguire to push or try and push so far forward with the ball.
Correct.
I'm not looking for them to dribble too tough. I'm not even looking for the fullbacks to dribble too tough because Wan-Bissaka right now going forward is still not good enough. Yeah. And Luke Shaw, his best thing is when he moves forward a little bit, plays a bit of a 1-2, then tries to run in or run inside or run behind. That's his strength. His end product is questionable. But the fact is that midfield 3, because you got 3 ball-playing midfielders, one that can play quarterback, like Rob is saying, that can pass at different types of ranges. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes, who's off the ball, chasing for challenges, tracking back, on the ball, long-range shots, set pieces, and then you got Van der Beek, who's also good at
long range as well. He's got a good long-range shot in him as well.
Exactly, he's got long range. He arrives late into the box, perfect timing. I feel like there's going to be a perfect balance there. Of course, defensively, we're still going to worry because we're like, Pogba's not essentially a defensive midfielder, but he's going to be playing that position. It's not his role, but it's his position. Yeah. So we're going to be worried. But because we've got 2 industrious midfielders next to him, I feel like that work rate is going to help him at the back defend and then counter-attacks. And playing the bigger boys, the counter-attack was our strongest thing. But why now revert back to type when we now got players that are capable to go toe-to-toe
Of course,
with
you have
others?
to understand. I have to play devil's advocate there because
I hear you.
there's going to be other people out here who say the exact same thing as me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not to say that I don't. I agree with what everyone's saying in it, but I'm just putting it. I'm just adding a spin on that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
But Beeks, one thing I want to say, you developed, you've asked a mad question, and obviously you're making me think of it. But one thing I would say is that you see the thing is with Matic this is why I'm agreeing with Rob again. The thing is with Matic in the midfield that we're basically playing with 10 men, and I feel like for me personally, do you know why? Because every time we get counter-attack, he is so slow to cover the ground. And it's like Pogba basically has to do his running for him. So there's like everyone always has to retreat and play defensive. Right. There's also different types of presses. So there's counter-press, there's full-on press, and then there's pressing traps as well. You don't always have to press like Liverpool players like gun-ho. Yeah. You can also add a counter-press as well, or add pressing traps where you assign a certain player on the pitch. Let's say you're playing Aston Villa and you look at Tyrone Mings, not really that good on the ball. As soon as he gets the ball, everyone's on him. You know what I mean?
Trigger press.
Do that. Yeah, all of that stuff. I feel like we have a young team as well. For the first time in a long time, Manchester United probably have the youngest team in the Prem.
So we do have the young statistically.
Yeah. So we can do it. I think we can do it. Matic in the midfield for me, like I was trying to agree with Rob again. If he comes to some midfield in certain games, he just doesn't have the legs to come across. Okay. And I saw against Aston Villa when Jack Grealish was buzzing around him, he was struggling, bro. Honestly,
I can see him. He was wheezy still.
But I, just to add to your point regarding Matic, I don't think anyone here is saying that Matic is a long-term solution. I'm not saying that he is a long-term solution.
Not at all.
I just think before I pass to you, Rob, I think in terms of a DM, sometimes it's not about your ability to get around the pitch. It's about your ability to read the game. That's what makes you a specialist. And Matic's ability to read the game is second nature, as it is for a striker. You know how people say they got that killer instinct, or that striker so anticipated the chance when it's a rebound. It's the same for a defender. You have that instinct that's natural to you that Pogba won't possess because it's not his natural game in terms of his ability to be in the right place at the right time. He will be able to read the game, but he won't be able to be in the right position in certain moments that Matic will predetermine that to be there, if that makes sense, because obviously that's what he's grown up with. So it's an instinct for him. So I think I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying in terms of course, they can play together, especially against a team that we should be dominating the possession. The lesser teams such as like Arsenal and Tottenham, we should be dominating possession against them teams.
Real Madrid and all them lot.
Yeah, exactly. Real Madrid, Barca, I took mine in there as well. But no, jokes aside, against them teams, I definitely think that midfield would work. I just worry against teams such as the Man City and Liverpool that on the flip side will dominate the ball against us. It'll be interesting to see has Pogba still got that instinct in a quarterback role off the ball. That's all I'm saying. That's my only worry.
Do I hear what Benji was saying about Matic? Not that it's the 10 men, but like the issue with Matic is if we're playing a team that has control of the ball from their goal kick area and they're bringing the ball forward, what you're saying about his reading of the game is perfect because he's already there. He knows where to be. He knows where to usher people. When we have control of the ball, we're in possession, and then we lose the ball because he lacks agility and speed. It's hard for him to get back.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
To his place, and that's the scary thing about him. And the thing is, defensively, he's still better than Fred. It's just that Fred is quicker. That's the only problem. Even though Fred in the last month of the season, he started to show a bit of form in that position. So it was like, okay, cool, he can play there. But yeah, I do worry about Matic as well. I can't lie. It's physical. It's not something that he can help because he can't get faster all of a sudden. But it's a worry, isn't it? It's a slight worry. It's a slight worry of mine.
We're talking tactics and stuff like that. If United play Liverpool and City early in the season, obviously in the coming season now,
yeah,
Matic starts. I know you won't like that. Right? Again, I think we look at this kind of dream scenarios about what we want our team to do and all of this.
But he starts, yeah.
Part of being a manager and the coach and looking at the tactics of your opposition team is that, when you go to Burnley, you want to go there and dominate with the ball. You want to show that you can knock them off the pitch and they can't live with you and you kill them in that first 20 minutes and they know they're beaten. And that's how you win these games. That's what Fergie's teams did. But when you go and play an elite side now, as I said, City and Liverpool being the two elite teams in the Premier League, you have to put that kind of stopgap in front of your back four. So I said this again before in the last time we spoke. The defensive midfield role has completely changed over the last 5 years. The days of Essien and Makelele have gone. You know, this is not where we are anymore. You can look at Kante. He's probably the closest that you get to maybe a mobile, old school kind of defender who can also a defensive midfielder who can pass the ball out and move forward. But as far as Manchester United go, Paul Pogba isn't a defensive midfielder, but he is a modern number 6. And that is that when he gets the ball deeper, he can play that ball that most other midfielders can't. So it's not a case of would you rather he did that on the edge of the box or the edge of his own box. It's more about the stylistic value of the play. And if you're going to play a big team, you probably would start with Matic. You then might go with either, say, Pogba or Van der Beek, but probably Pogba. And that might be the game where Van der Beek sits on the bench. You know, that's only a small slither in. We're talking a small amount of games where we're talking the elite teams, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 games a season.
That's what I was trying to address in the first place. It wasn't week in, week out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that totally.
I disagree. I'm sorry, we don't have to do that because even if you look at the top teams, because if you look at the team like Barcelona,
don't say Bayern. I thought you said Bayern.
Look at Bayern.
We're not doing that against Bayern.
I get what I love your confidence, but that's suicidal.
Man City don't have a DM as well. Why do
what happened to Man
Fernandinho? No,
but that's because they're better controlling games than us,
exactly,
and that's why they can do that.
We need to learn how to control
games.
Exactly.
We'll get there. That's the first. That's why we're trying to get there.
Can I ask Benji a question? Can I ask Benji a question?
Yeah, go on.
Benji, next season, right? United go and play Liverpool, go to Anfield, and they get beaten. They get beaten 4-0 with the 4-3-3 that you're talking about, with those midfielders in there, and it's not a great game. Yeah, what are you tweeting? What are you tweeting straight away?
Ali tactical.
And the problem for Ole is that he also knows this. He also knows that one mistake means that everybody puts a gun to his head. If you're thinking about coaching tactics, and we're not looking at the FIFA side of the game and the Football Manager side of the game, because it's not a game to them, this is their lives. Ultimately, he's going to look at that and he's going to say, how do I stop that team and also still win the game? And I think last season he got that right. You see, he played City 4 times and beat them 3 times. He played Chelsea 4 times and beat them 3 times. You might not have been impressed with the tactics, might not have always been beautiful, but the fact that it's going in the right direction. And I just think that's the thing. You see, next season we're still in this transition where we hope United play better football, more winning football. But there's no way that he would start with a kind of gung-ho midfield with a gung-ho attack, because we know our front 3 are going to go for it. And that's 6 players out your game. You're going to get mauled. You know, these top teams will pick you apart. But there's also in the game, there's a transition. So if you've got the opportunity to bring on better players in those scenarios, hopefully you go on and win the game. But the real trick is going to Crystal Palace and dominating them. That's the kind of way you win the league. Go into those games, those bottom 10 teams, and you go there. And that's what Liverpool did last season. They weren't great at times, but they just went to places, won 2-0, and just kind of brushed it all off, and that's it, and go home. That's how it should be. And I think that's where Ole's trying to aim it. But we try and look at the kind of whole prettiness of it and say, we want United to kind of match up. It's going to take time. Give them a year to get it right, to mould it, to shape it. There'll be mistakes along the way, and there'll be new signings as well. There might be a new centre-back somewhere in there within the next 12 months. And that might take United on another level. Then you might say, no, Matic doesn't play now. Now we do play with Van der Beek. Van der Beek, you sit a little bit deeper, be a bit more disciplined. But at the moment, definitely Matic starts those games. And Ole knows that because he doesn't want to get sacked. He felt at the end of the season that if he hadn't got top 4, the United fan base were going after him, because there was way too much chatter that the United fan base just had no faith in him. It didn't matter what he'd do. United could win 6-0, like I said, in Europe, and United fans were saying, get out of the football club. Some of them were saying, we want Mourinho back. You know, my God, it's kind of like, it's all a bit kind of 2 EastEnders, as I call it. Do you know what I mean? So I think you look at it, I think you need to give the man time. And I think he's getting it right. I think the players that were coming into the football club and the young players that we've got coming through, you know, I talked before about Mengi and players like that. I think these are really exciting talents, and I think United, I think they can match Liverpool and City, but not this year. But closer.
Yeah, definitely. Benji, I know you got a question, but before we go to that, I want to bring Adam into it. Adam, what are your thoughts regarding the Matic and obviously the Pogba debate, and just the midfield debate in general? Because for once, we're actually spoiled for choices, and it's nice to say that because come start of the season, when Pogba was injured, and we literally were forced to play Pereira and Fred and McTominay, and just made you with Lingard, Mata on the right, Danjip. I can go on, but. What are your thoughts regarding the midfield? If you were to pick, obviously we'll do a preview for the Palace game next week, but if you were to pick a midfield three, what are you thinking based on what the guys have said?
So basically, if you asked me about 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, I was with Benji. And I was, honestly, right, I would have said that, okay, we need to play our best team because we're coming against the best. So Pogba starts and Pogba sits in there, and you got Van der Beek and you got Bruno, because we wanna attack and we want to do what we do best, not be worried about what they're gonna bring, which is a bit one-sided and tunnel vision, I suppose. But listening to everything Kojo and what Rob has said there. Not this season. Put Matic in this season, right? Next season, then we can do that. Because I've had a bit of a reality hit there by listening, and it makes a very, very good point, and it's sensible. Yeah, I think now I'm saying, yeah, Matic does start. Based on everything.
Just on the big games, though, Adam. Now, just on the big games, now.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Cool. That's what
But I don't want this season.
Benji,
I'm not saying. Can I just say one thing? Beeks, 1 second. I'll pass it to you. Right, I'm gonna give you a perfect example, Benji, so you understand what we're saying. Firstly, right, I'm not saying Matic starts week in, week out. What I'm saying is there's a guy called Park Ji-sung. I don't know if you've heard of him, right? But he was one of the first names on the team sheet against every good team we played against. So in the Champions League major games, Fergie had him in. Was he technically better than Nani? Was he technically better than other people who had the bet? No, he wasn't. But Fergie was clever. He used his players, his squad, and said to him, look, 3 weeks' time, you're playing this game. Get yourself ready. Ollie needs to get to that position. What he's doing that with Matic. Matic is at that age now. He can't play week in, week out anyway. So it doesn't matter regarding whether he should be starting week in, week out. Against the lesser teams where we should be dominating, Matic shouldn't be nowhere near the team, because you got people that are comfortable on the ball, and I'm all about sustained pressure. We've seen it maybe twice this season. We need players that can sustain pressure. Matic hasn't got the ability to do that. That's when you play that midfield three that you're alluding to. I completely agree with you. But against teams where it's 50-50 potentially, against the Liverpool or against Man City, you can't just be stupid. Basically, what Arsene Wenger used to do, he was so stuck in his ways. When he played the Man Cities and Liverpool, he didn't care. He didn't change anything. He'd get slapped 4 and 5-0 consistently. The reason people are praising Arteta so much, because the first time in about 20 years, Arsenal finally paid respect to the big teams and not thinking about their own team. They're actually taking into consideration the strengths other teams got. And that's what football's about. You don't play the same way every week. It's about mixing up depending on the opponent. So that's the way I see it. Park Ji-sung was a perfect example of that. That guy did not play week in, week out, but when he was needed, he was called upon and he did a job every single time, which is what Matic should be in the team for. That's my thoughts. We're going to leave it there because I want to talk about your sort of key players, so to speak, of the season.
Anyway, does that make a difference?
Oh, just calm down, you. Right, okay, I'm going to stitch you guys up slightly here. And I didn't say this prior to the show. So if you are tuning in, just bear in mind they didn't know this prior to the show. If somebody says a player, you can't say the same one. So, for example, I'm not going to go first, but if I was to say Wan-Bissaka, obviously somebody else can't say Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, you got to pick someone different. We'll say like a minute or so, just explaining why you think that person is going to be the most influential this season. Rob, I feel like I'm going to leave you last, actually, just to stitch you up as well slightly. Adam, we'll come to you first. Who would you think?
Yes, well, I'm picking Bruno. Bruno is my guy.
So
He's all your guys, but I've got him. Basically, I'm going to try and...
the rest you got to think here, by the way, so you can't say Bruno.
Yeah. Well, I had a thing for Rob as well, which I wanted to say in this section was I want to push forward a movement for Bruno for captain as well. And get Maguire off because he's terrible. But I want Bruno to be captain. He's a leader. He pulls the strings. He doesn't think his range of passing. He can score. He shouts. everybody. He expects a level of United, which I expect and most fans expect, is up here. And when some performances in the team are down here, and you can just see it, everything about him oozes confidence and quality and class, and he's just going to be. You've seen what he does already in half a season. Give him a full season, we'll be nearly top of the league.
But do you know what? I don't think he needs the armband. He's a leader already. The whole point about Maguire being the captain of the football club is he's kind of more of a figurehead now. And obviously he's just had this terrible thing that happened abroad. And we know that that's been the biggest news since sliced bread about Harry Maguire. But ultimately, he's at the football club for the long term. I don't think we'll ever see a kind of change in captain unless there was something significant happen to Maguire himself. But I think you need to bring leaders into the football club. That's more important. When Roy Keane was the captain of Manchester United, he had 6 leaders around him. Yeah, he could go and be Roy Keane and be this force of nature. But he had leaders everywhere in every position, in the back four, in front of him, all over the places, people that spoke non-stop. And I think that's what Ole is trying to recreate now with bringing Bruno into the football club. But this is why Van der Beek's been brought in. And I think Ole spoke about this to the BBC today, about he wanted Van der Beek to kind of come in because he fits that profile of leadership that he wants to see players take on. So I'm great with that. I think even with Paul Pogba, I think Pogba's a leader. He's definitely a leader in the dressing room. He's highly influential on the training ground. People train with him, always talk about what a model trainer he is. I think that's more important. I think United get these players who can all be captains. Give them all an armband at the end of the day. If they all go out there and lead, then I'm all for it. I don't really mind who's actually got the armband as long as they all do that leadership role.
Absolutely. Yeah, but my problem with... actually, I'm not, because this will go on to a captain debate.
Basically, Adam, stop trying to change the show, Adam.
Sorry.
That's Benji's job. Right, okay, so I'm trying to think who I'm going to stitch up, actually. And Beek, so I'm going to come to you because obviously, you're quite cordial. I've got a feeling I know what Coach is going to say. So you can't say Bruno for obvious reasons because Adam said it. I feel like that's probably everyone's first pick. But who are you going for as who you think will be the most influential come the end of the season?
I had 2 in mind, Actually, no, I had 3. Adam took that first one. Obviously, he's taking everyone's out. But you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I hope someone says his name, but I'm gonna go for the obvious one. I'm gonna go for Anthony Martial. I'm gonna go for Martial, and I'm gonna say it straight. A lot of people have been dissing him. I've seen this so much slander on Anthony Martial's name, and it's unfortunate. The guy hasn't had any service for a very long time, and towards the back of the end of last season, when Bruno started to produce, and he was just flourishing, he was just shining week in and week out, and he was getting the goals that he needed to get. A lot of people are saying he hasn't got 20 plus goals. Trust me, that's gonna come. Don't worry about that. If we can get the players that need to be put in, Anthony Martial will get 20 plus goals without a doubt. You have to understand the goals he scored in the Premier League, not one was a penalty. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just gonna put it out there. This guy
did he not score a pen?
No,
he did take one. Did he?
He took one and he missed one, and that was at Norwich. He took Norwich.
I remember. Yeah.
So even so, just looking at that, I just think this guy's gonna get goals. I think if we can get, hopefully, God willing, touch wood. Thank God, my tables wood. If we can get Sancho and the likes of Rashford starts firing or whatnot, and Bruno's in behind, Martial will get goals. 100%. You understand? I can see what he's doing in the international stage when he got called up. He won a penalty. He got a goal. He got an assist. The guy can finish. This guy has needed the time. It's his time now. He's 24? Trust me, next season, I'm saying Anthony Martial is going to be the guy. That's me.
Do you think he'll get the golden boot?
Do you know what? I'm going to put it out there just for the sake of it. Anthony Martial will be in contention for golden boot.
I was about to say, I thought the police would come to arrest you because you're going to say it's
talking out with the last again.
It's Martial, not Martial. It's kind of.
Oh, sorry, Benji.
Sorry, Benji.
Oh, God. I didn't know your voice like that.
I didn't know. Was it your guy's voice?
I'm surprised you don't call him by his first name, Benji. You're that close. Right, okay. Right, so obviously we've got Martial and Bruno. Kojo will come to you. Robert Benji against Stitch for the years.
I'd rather go last. I'm happy to go last.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna
gonna
put
pick
you last because I've got a feeling you've got a left field in there. I know you have. Kojo, who are you going for? So you can't have Martial or Bruno, of course.
I had the left field, but I'll just go for the obvious one now. Yeah, Pogba. Yeah, this is a big season for him. This is someone that we know is capable of doing pretty much everything on a football pitch. Technically superior to a lot of players in the footballing world. So he's been getting a lot of criticism.
Well, he's not according to FIFA. He's the same as Edison, but
you know what? What I'm gonna say is, don't buy FIFA, buy FM. But anyway,
sponsored by either, so don't matter.
Yeah, no matter. Yeah. They can come fight me if they want. But no, this is a player that to this day people are still asking if he has been a success at Man United. I think this is the time to stand up and show that you are a success, that you are one of the best in the league, in Europe, and in the world. We as fans talk about you showing it in the World Cup for France. You were supreme, and arguably you had obviously a much better midfield around you, better players around you. That's what we're trying to build here. And if we get the players around you, it's time for you to stand up and show exactly what you're about. So Pogba is someone that's very, very capable of getting 10 goals and 10 assists in the season very easily. Yeah. Very capable of doing that. I would love for him to do that, but more importantly, just to be that dictator in the middle of the pitch, show that you are what I truly believe you are. I still think you're the best CM in the league. You haven't proven it on form because Kevin De Bruyne has been way above you, but stand up and take account and show everyone that you are that G. You are the master. You are Pog babes. Pog babes.
Kojo, could you just do a speech to him before every game?
This is incredible.
I got a bit emotional now. I was thinking, yo, Pogba is great. He's like,
I can feel Pogba's presence. I said, Kojo.
Jamaican captain.
That reminded me of
we're clipping it and sending it. Hopefully, it's easier. Anyways, so we've got. Obviously the obvious one, Bruno, Martial, and Pogba. To be fair, I can't. It's hard to listen to everyone's arguments. So please say here again. It's all good. Benji, go on then. I'm not snitching too much. I'm assuming one of your top three have gone. But who are you going for?
No, not at all.
All right, I was really saying,
Matic once.
Oh yeah, Matic, of course. I could have.
Even if I went first, my pick was always going to be Harry Maguire. Simply because he's the leader of the team, he's the captain of the team. He's come here to win trophies at a very good age, and I feel like he needs to be the one to step up this season and show that, look, this is my time to shine. This is my time. And also the Euros are going to be at the end of the year, and he's going to start for England and probably try and push for that trophy as well. I feel like it's a big season for Harry Maguire. Yeah, simply because the fan base is only split on two players, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw. So this is a big season for him to show that he can be a world-class centre-back, which we all know and believe he can become. He's under a lot of pressure because of what happened in Greece. He needs to come in and show Man United fans that, look, I'm the captain, I'm the leader, and I want to win trophies, I want to deliver software. It's a big season for him, honestly. He's the only player I feel like he's under a lot of pressure this season for me personally. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I can't agree more with you. I think that's definitely a valid shout. In terms of what he needs to prove, not only to himself, but obviously, to Man United fans, of course, get his spot in England too. I think that's definitely a good shout. But Rob, you've been left with the shortest straw. There's probably still at least one option that you could probably vouch for, but I'm assuming yours is gone, surely. But who
no.
for Rob?
No.
Okay.
No, mine's still the same person I decided when you asked the question. I think United's most important player next year could well be Luke Shaw. So people don't like Luke Shaw, and I understand why. There's no way Luke Shaw has lived up to the hype. You know, he came to the football club as potentially the best left back in the world he was going to be, and it never happened. And he gets 2 assists a season, and it's all a bit of a nightmare. What's most important is how Manchester United play as a unit and allow their fullbacks to get forward next season. So you look at it, and you look at Wan-Bissaka, and obviously he struggled on the right-hand side. He's a guy who was a winger by trade when he was a kid, but he couldn't buy an assist, you know. And Luke Shaw's had the same issues. And we have to say to ourselves, why have these fullbacks really struggled at Manchester United for a long time? And part of that is tactical, part of it is the management, but a lot of it is the players around them in terms of if they get the ball into the boxes, there are actually players there to score. Now, I agree with what you said about Martial earlier on. I think that he's going to be a big striker next year in terms of numbers. I think he's really grown into that number 9 shirt. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised that he actually has taken it on so well since Bruno came on. But I think when you look at Luke Shaw...
Can I just ask you one question? Sorry, I was going to ask
course.
someone that we had on the show yesterday, and this is a proper random question about Luke Shaw. But is there a case, right, he could play left centre-back? Like, is there a case? Because he's done it in the 3. I'm not saying he can, but I'm saying when he's played it in the 5, obviously 5 at the back, he's been absolutely phenomenal, genuinely. If we're desperate, I'm just saying, we can get a left-back that's quite like world-class potentially.
If you were playing 3 at the back, if you're playing 3 at the back or 5 across the back, then of course you can play left.
What if you're playing 4 at the back? Just hypothetically speaking.
But no. You don't want him as a centre back. He's not a centre back. You know, it's not what he does. It's not. He's never played that role ever. You know, it'd be like saying let's play Paul Pogba as centre back because he plays in the centre. It doesn't really work like that. I think the thing with Luke Shaw is, what do we want from Luke Shaw? We want assists. Yeah, that's what we want. We want Luke Shaw, who was at Southampton, who used to raid, and because they were built to raid. Now, Manchester United have not been built to raid since the day Fergie left. You know, every manager has played this conservative style. With Van Gaal, it got even more conservative. With Mourinho, it just got boring. We've now got a manager who wants to play attacking football and is telling his fullbacks to bomb on. So I think this season, even though I don't think Luke Shaw's the best left back in the world, by all means, he's got a lot to prove. But I think he's got the skill set to go on and actually be a much bigger player for Manchester United. If he's fit, obviously. We saw at the end of this season, without Luke Shaw, Manchester United were a lot weaker in that starting 11. And that was a surprise to me. I think when he went out the team, I was like, well, we've got Brandon Williams. I like Brandon Williams. We've got people who can cover. But United were distinctly poorer in those final games of the season. Yeah. Why? Because they lost Luke Shaw. So I think Luke Shaw can be a player in there that gives you that security at the back. But more importantly, he needs assists. And I think next season, I'll put my neck on the block. I think he can get double-digit assists next year because he will be much higher up the pitch.
Wow.
Yeah, he's going to be an attacker next year. He's not going to be a fullback. He's not going to be in the back 4 back here. He's going to be much higher up the pitch. And that suits him.
Big call. That's a
big call. But that's what he's got to live up to, you see. If I'm Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm saying to him, if you want to be in my team, you've got to get me assists. You go and look at Robertson. You go and look at Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're in that team for assists. That's modern football. Luke Shaw has to get assists, or otherwise United just go out and buy a left back. So he knows that, and I think that's his game. He wants that. I think that's something he craves. He doesn't want to be this conservative left back that doesn't really do a lot and gets slated for it. He wants to be that player that goes on. He's not popular. I know United fans are not hot on him, but I tell you what, if he starts the season well and gets 3 or 4 or 5 assists in the first few games, fans' eyes are going to be popping out their heads because they're going to go, this is something different. And I do think that United, through the midfield that we've talked about a lot today, I think that midfield will be conducive to holding the ball more steady in the middle, allowing the fullbacks to move on past them. And that's not been there for years. Our midfield has been so poor going back over so many years. And what's Paul Pogba going to do when he spots Luke Shaw making that run? Yeah, he's going to play him in. So it's all there for me. I look at that, and I think Wan-Bissaka also should be looking at getting many more assists next season because he'll be higher up the pitch. And I think that's where I agree with what you said about Harry Maguire. I think Maguire could well be a much more influential maybe figure in terms of United's overall play because he was brought to the football club to dictate in that role into what was in front of him. And it didn't really work last year because, I think he had a centre-back partner that is just not good enough. I don't think Lindelof has what it takes. He doesn't have the pace, and I think Maguire needs someone with pace next to him. But I think he also needs fullbacks that kind of bomb on and push on and take the play 30 yards forward. And Luke Shaw will play as a midfielder more next year, even though he is a left back. And I think that he will get assists next year. And he's only got to get a few for people to get hot on him. Like, you guys are all kind of rolling your eyes. And I think if he gets 5 assists in the first 20 games, you're all going to be like, whoa, this is something completely new. Let's give him a go. And I think that's all he needs to do is gain some trust from United fans.
I've got a curveball just to say. I'm happy with what Rob said, and I think I'm excited to see what Luke Shaw does. But we've all done ours, Usmaan. I want you to do yours.
All right, that's what I was gonna say. Well, wait! I just realized what this means. I won't pick the same player, but just to say, man was actually Martial. However, so just to stay in a sort of thing, I'm gonna say there's only one other person I can choose that I actually rate massively, and none of you have mentioned him, thankfully, and it's Marcus Rashford. Of course,
Thank you.
of course, it's Rashford. Look, you know, a lot of people are gonna say, you know, he hasn't been good post lockdown. I completely agree with that. You know, he's saying that he's been playing with injury, but again, this comes down to short-term memory loss from a lot of fans who was absolutely tearing it apart. First of all, in Ollie's first stint when he first joined the club, the guy was doing flip-flops and absolutely destroying him. He was at the second coming of Ronaldinho, the way he was going past players. You know, you saw when Pogba was getting all those goals when Ollie first came in, who was instrumental. It was literally everyone was saying Pogba, Rashford, Pogba, Rashford.
Yeah,
and I think people have forgotten his ability. You know, granted, he hasn't been great, but you saw against Sheffield United, you saw against Bournemouth, the influence he had, not in terms of his goals, but creating chances. He could have had about 5 assists in 2 games if other people took the chances. That's how many chances he created. And a lot of people kind of dismissed him completely in terms of what we've got going for it. Every time I hear Man United fan talk about, you know, or what we've got, you talk about your Martial's, Greenwood's, Pogba's, Bruno, etc. Rightly so, of course, they're fantastic players. But nobody mentions Rashford anymore. Which to me is a bit of a shock because his ability is unbelievable. He just needs confidence. That he's just a confidence player. And I think also to add on to what you said, Rob, his form dipped when Luke Shaw got injured. It's not a coincidence. When Luke Shaw was
100%.
playing and Rashford was playing, their partnership, and I was doing the watch-alongs with Adam. You can check him. Adam's not a fan of Luke Shaw. I'll put it out there, and which is fine. I know he's not, and he's not massive. He's a fan of Rashford, but to be fair, I criticize Rashford a lot. I'll be honest, but we both said on numerous occasions, 4 or 5 games in a row, when they're playing together, they look like they finally got that chemistry. You know, when you play with someone for a long time and you understand them without having to look, you know where that person is. They've got that. And I think for me personally, he needs Luke Shaw as much as Martial needs Rashford as well. And people are forgetting. When Rashford was injured, Martial's form faltered massively, and vice versa. So they go hand in hand. I'm not going to say that Andy Cole and Dwight Yorke because that's such a cliche thing to say. But in terms of the partnership, Rashford's just as important to me as any other person in the team, and he does a lot for the team in terms of his work rate as well that people don't actually appreciate as well.
But it's also why it's really important that Manchester United buy Sancho, because you need balance. And if you've got Rashford on the left. And you got to remember, Rashford plays as a left-sided forward, but he really plays almost as a winger. He gets close to that byline. He doesn't play in the channel where maybe Martial would be when he's on the left.
Yeah,
but Martial is obviously now the centre forward. United need someone who's going to have the width on the right and create chances and get assists. But obviously, that's not Mason Greenwood's game. We know that isn't his game, but of course he scored goals, and we're all really delighted with the way that he's played. That's why I think if you're going to get the best out of Rashford, you need to buy Sancho. And for me, it's great we're naming individual players here. The most exciting thing is I think Manchester United are going to have a team that actually is exciting to watch next year. All through the 11, from back to front, we're actually going to be saying this is a different kind of Manchester. This isn't about individuals. This isn't about someone going isolation like you would do in basketball one-on-one. This is about players playing together and finding a way together as a strategy. And I think we'll see that. I think we'll see us playing much higher up the pitch. And I think we'll play a more possession game. We'll be less counter-attack. But we've got the pace to kill teams. If we want to counter-attack and we're playing the Cities and Liverpools or teams that maybe come on us a little bit more, Ole's going to have options next season.
Kodjo got last word.
Oh, so I was just going to say, can I also say I think it's going to be a big season for David De Gea.
I know I was gonna say De Gea to be fair, but you know what? I'm just gonna leave it because if he has an absolute mare, people go, "Oh, you said De Gea." So I'll just stick with Rashford because I do love Rashford to be fair, but he just needs to improve. Anyways, listen, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of our guests. Fantastic podcast. Obviously, we'll have to do it again at some point. It's got a bit over than I initially planned, but as always, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're doing a shirt giveaway, as I've mentioned. If anyone's watching, you can get a shirt for free, any shirt you want. All you got to do is check out that video. The link will be in the description. It tells you how to enter. All free, and also the Fantasy Football League as well. If you want to lose to me in that, by all means, be my guest. The link is down below to join the league. I'm just going to finish off with allowing you all to give yourselves a shout out. Obviously, your socials. So, Rob, we'll start with you in order. Rob, where can people find you on socials?
Well, if you just search Rob B, I come up. But overall, I'm _Rob_B, and that's how you can find me on Twitter.
Brilliant. And you remember this time, yeah, because obviously you forgot last time, didn't you? But don't worry, I had it in the description. Beeks has already got his anyway, but obviously, do you want to shout out your YouTube channel as well?
Yeah, man. Catch me on YouTube at Beeks Corner. Just type it up. You see the orange logo there. On Twitter at Beeks_Corner, and then Instagram at Beeks Corner. Man, catch me on there. I'm usually giving all the banner and that. But yeah, catch me on there.
Love to see it. And Kojo.
Yep, at Coach Kojo, as you can see below, free midfield for my podcast. The other podcast is footy_says, and that's on YouTube as well. Footy says and free midfield on YouTube.
Benji with his own folder. Benji, you cheat up, by the way. You cheat up a bit.
Always at the
Benji, go on. What's his socials?
No, follow all the rest of the guys. I'm not in
All right, but Benji's been very modest. His socials are underneath. It's Ben Adeyemi. Check it out. If you don't have to spell it, it's in the link description. Don't worry, he's been humble now. He's got a bit shy all of a sudden, I'm not sure. And obviously, last but not least, Adam, your socials. You know how much socials are you apart from Instagram?
Yeah, you can't really find me on socials, to be honest. But I might create a YouTube if you guys all ask for it. But I'm just on Instagram.
Okay, and as always, Adam's beautiful photos on Instagram you can find on the link below. Just to say a massive thank you to all of our listeners. Drop a like, subscribe. We'll be back in a few days, tomorrow actually, with another video. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I think it's fancy football. But apart from that, it's been your host, Usmaan. Peace.